Welcome to Type 5 One Mic. My name is Sareth Ney, and I am the host every Thursday night. And every single Thursday night, I bring on a stand-up comedian that I had the pleasure of working with, and I try to put money in their pockets, get them more followers, and all that good stuff. And this week, I have my guest. Her name is Lesley Jo, and she's run a lot of awesome rooms that I got to be a part of in Orlando when stand-up was happening. And ladies and gentlemen, Lesley Jo. Hey Leslie, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for being on the show tonight.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Uh, Indeed, I have a lot of fun doing these shows and bringing my pals on and talking about their Type Fives in one mic.
Yeah. I tied five. Like it's been months. It's been months.
Indeed, I'm a bit rusty myself, so I got to go and do a lengthy set at the Nog on Wednesday. So I promised Kevin that I would.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I haven't gone back and done comedy yet, so you're gonna go and you're gonna do that.
Yep,
Cool.
I'll
Yeah.
be
I
wearing a mask and gloves and everything like that just to be safe. But
yeah. I like those like pods that they make the Chick-fil-A employees wear. I kind of like that idea, but I also really want to coat them in Teflon.
indeed,
Especially if I'm gonna go to is that the bulletproof thing? Yeah, that's what I want. I want bulletproof inside of if I'm gonna go to Daytona and do comedy, I think I want like bulletproof personal pod.
they're not too bad. You gotta avoid the serial killer if she comes around again.
Oh
So,
yeah. No,
yeah,
that lady was legendary.
yeah, she was. Indeed. Man, we talk about her all the time, but we miss her. So, yeah, we have a guest here in the comment section. His name's Ian, and he says you're on my television, so that's pretty cool. Thanks, Ian, for
Oh,
tuning
cool.
in.
Hey, Ian. Hey, yeah, thank you. That means a lot. He's this is interrupting his normal information channel that I'm not going to name by name, but thank you for being here, Ian.
Indeed, for sure. And so let's break down your tight five that you shared with me from your set at Rain Dogs, which is a really cool venue on in Jacksonville. What was the story behind Healthy Fat?
Well, that was like one of my first like headline sets that I did, and that was in February, so right before the whole world shut down. Um, Healthy fat is kind of my evolution to adulthood. I realized that uh, I have weight issues over time, and that has really uh, made impact in my personal life. So, as the joke describes, as you'll hear, it does make I don't know. It kind of makes light of it, but it also kind of adds some truth into who I am a bit. But I'm also like trying to be healthier at every given opportunity because I don't want to like I don't know. I don't want to be like I don't know. I'm pretty healthy. I could do anything I want.
Indeed, I was at 235 at one point, and I had to shrink a little bit. And intermittent fasting works a lot. And I
Oh,
didn't
so you
start.
get it. You get it. Dude, that's that yeah, no, like I didn't realize that you also suffered with that, but like congratulations because I know that I would not recognize you at that size. You totally aren't that now.
Indeed, for sure. I Quarantine has gotten me loving snacks again, so I got to shrink down a little bit. But
Yeah, it's
hopefully,
hard. It's hard, but you know, moderation is key.
absolutely, most definitely. And I haven't been eating out much. I've been cooking my stuff recently, so learning how to cook during this time, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, what's your favorite thing that you've cooked like in the last little bit?
I like making like ginger chicken. I was a pescatarian for a long time, but I was like, man, I miss chicken, so I had to make some chicken breast and put some ginger and garlic in there with some soy sauce and brown sugar, and it's
Okay.
fantastic.
That was good. Today I picked up some yeast. I picked up active dry yeast and another kind of yeast so I could play with things that I could make yeast. I don't know. I felt yeasty.
Ah, indeed, make
I don't
some
know what to do with it, but I'm going to figure it out.
make some biscuits or something.
Yeah, I
That'd be
can make
awesome.
biscuits. I mean, I'm looking forward to whatever happens with this yeast.
Indeed. So, you're the only child from Titusville. What's the story behind only child from Titusville?
I mean, Titusville's a place that I grew up, and it was this place that I as soon as I was old enough and able to, I moved out. I got out of there. I couldn't do it anymore. Um, I ended up dropping out of high school, which was kind of a conundrum. Um, yeah, like I moved to Orlando, and life got better. I met really cool people, and Titusville kind of like, I don't know, they've really come back. I know that they really lacked culture for a while. I know they do have a nude beach, but like that was a thing. I actually never went there despite the joke. Um, but yeah, no, Titusville its reputation is trashy. It's cheap. You can really like buy a house over there for a significant amount less than you would in Orlando, but you also live in Titusville. Um, yeah, I don't know. I it sucks.
I've never been myself, but uh, I often thought like, what if it was named after Christopher Titus? That'd be pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, it could be, it was maybe, I don't even know. I know that there was like, I have no idea of the Titusville history, honestly. I'm not even going to speak to it.
Indeed, for sure. I know some towns that I don't speak of anymore either. So,
I mean, the people there are good. Like, I have all of my like maternal and paternal grandparents and my parents. I guess that also qualifies. But yeah, they all still live there, and they're all good people, and there are lots of good people there. But growing up, there was very limited options. There was a Walmart. I have a joke about that. I haven't told that joke in a long time, but there was the Waffle House and the Walmart was pretty much it, and also drugs.
oh man, that's pretty hardcore.
I mean,
That's
not like Daytona Beach drugs, but you know what I mean.
indeed. I mean, I've never seen it, but I'm sure it's there.
Oh my god,
But
it makes total sense. Like it's between Cocoa Beach and Daytona Beach drugs. Like that's the exact amount of drugs that Titusville is.
wow, that's pretty
Yeah,
wild.
profound.
Indeed, Uncle Chuckles sends his best to Duncan. So,
Oh, hey, Duncan. Uncle Chuckles says hi. Uncle Chuckles is not here. I know that's so mean. That's Duncan's favorite person in the entire world. Yeah,
awesome,
yeah.
sweet,
Well, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate that.
indeed. And your next joke was about guy stuff. What was all the guy stuff that you were talking about? Stories
Um,
behind it.
I have lots of like dating stories, and at some point, I don't even know. Like, I have a catalog. I have a whole notebook binder filled with like bullshit dating stories, and like it's very nice to learn where you stand in life with people. So after at some point, if you don't save these stories, you won't learn from them. That's how I am. So I have several jokes in there. I don't even know which ones I included, but I know there were a few. I know there was one about a guy that died. A
Mm,
lot of guys die after they date me.
wow, it kind of
Unfortunately, like it's not my fault. I didn't kill them.
indeed. It's kind of like reminds me of Uncle Fester with like the Black Widow, I believe her name was in the Adams Family movie.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to get cast. That's all.
Indeed. Oh man, good stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna wait till my 40s to start dating because I don't think the dirty 30s are fine, and but I'm gonna be like in my hoary 40s is like what I like to call it. So
Like we're basically the same age though, kind of, right?
yeah, I'd say I got like 3 more years to go. But
Yeah.
I figured I move around too much that I don't want to like be involved in a relationship in case it like holds me down in Florida. And I'm trying to
Yeah.
make it back home to Colorado, so I'm just like,
But you don't want to bring the person with you because you know that's an option.
I know, but bath salts and coronavirus, you got to keep them here.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. I mean, no, okay, so I moved out of my apartment and I moved in with my boyfriend, like out of my apartment April 1st. So we didn't intend to spend this much time in this close proximity, but it's been fun. It's been interesting. I don't hate it. I'm not mad about it, but it's not what I would have designed. I really miss going out, and I miss our normal lives, but just entering the same cohabitation status at the same time of a global pandemic is like a lot.
Indeed. I'm like happy that I live alone and like all my family's in Colorado, they're all waiting for me. And so I'm just like I'm so like I'm meditating and getting some sun and just relaxing and like my whole family was in a multi-generational household. And like I went there for a week and I'm like this is driving me nuts. I can't live with anybody. I can only like live on my own. So
Yeah.
I,
Well, I
I,
mean, living on your own is a big deal. I lived on my own for a long time, and then I realized that being a comic is so hard to like afford anything and not lose your job. So, uh, like, yeah, no, like that. It's hard. It's hard, and I lived on my own for a long time. But I commend you for doing that.
for sure. Indeed. Can't wait to go back home though and because I miss all my pals and my family and stuff. So.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. And like people aren't able to see their families, and I hate that. Although I
Most
never see my family anyway, but I do miss them.
indeed, most definitely. And so the next joke that you had were about your dog stuff. What's some stories about the stories behind that?
So are we listening to the jokes at any point, or is that like, are we just talking about them?
I tried it the first time, like because I did like a used myself as a guinea pig and did it, and like it worked really well in my headphones. But then I played it back on my first episode, and I barely heard anything. And I'm like, I'm not even gonna play the tracks. I gotta
Uh,
find some kind of software to play these tracks. So
uh, okay. Dog stuff. Yeah, everybody knows me as having a dog. Like I used to bring my dog to open mics, and people used to make fun of me for it. But like, and he makes people smile. Like my dog and I used to walk to open mics, and people would like open their eyes in their cars, and like they look over at me and they just smile because my dog was so freaking cute. Like I don't know, you can make fun of me about cute dog, that's fine. I would bring him on stage with me a lot, and that was something that I'll never ever regret. I loved every minute of it, and my dog, he's fun. I don't know, but I don't necessarily want to attach myself to having a dog as part of my brand. Although he is here, right there, he's laying next to me. He's 10 years old. He's getting up there, but he misses all of his friends in comedy. I used to bring him out to the venues that I would run shows at, and he would just go and run around and see the people. And I know that he really like. We go to the park as often as we can, but the social aspect, I know we all miss that part of it, but my dog made friends.
he has a friend in me for sure. I remember seeing him a bunch, and he's fantastic. You're fantastic, and thank you for
Oh,
bringing him around. It was a pleasure to meet Duncan and yourself.
thank you. Thank you. You got some good pictures of him too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, and all the other comics in well, most of the comics in Florida.
You do
So
a ton. You do a ton. Thank you for what you do. Like this is hard. I'm a showrunner, and it's really hard to get out onto the online stratosphere because it's overwhelming, and you have like kind of tackled it in a way that I don't know how to, and I commend you for that. Good
uh,
job.
th- thank you so much, pal. Means a lot. And like I don't charge or edit any of the photos. I just throw them up on Facebook, and I'm like, here's the pictures. So and the
Yeah.
lighting really helps in like all the venues that I've shot at. So like it's just perfectly lit most of the time.
Yeah, no, lighting makes a huge difference. Like if you could learn anything in your career, it's like how much lighting matters.
Absolutely. And the lenses help out a lot too. So
Oh, for sure.
indeed. And the fifth joke for your Type 5 mic, it was more guy stories. So what was the stories more guy stories about?
Well, I don't know what actually like I had more guy stories, and like I didn't actually like finish it. I guess the way the video was edited, it was chopped up into guy stories at the end. So I think that the closer was one of the dating stories that I had. And unfortunately, it was another one that died. Unbeknownst to me, I did not do it. I've never fed anyone to gators or, like tigers or anything. Shit. I don't even feed my dog meat. Like,
Indeed. Lions and tigers and bears, oh my. But Uncle Chocolate is complimenting on your new hair. It loves the way you do.
Thank you. It's hot, and I just shaved it off. And also, I get bored.
Indeed, for sure. And so you ran some rooms that I went to a couple of them. Celery City in Sanford, Abbey Bar in DeLand, and Castle Church in Orlando. How did all that come about?
Well, honestly, it started with me listening to one episode of a podcast, What Ails Ya, which is a local beer podcast. And he was talking to a local brewery owner. Her name is Gina Molinas, and she's a badass brewer. I'm probably gonna get like 5 texts from her now, but like she I never met her, but she was also from Titusville, but she was a brewer. She loves sour beers. So I'm like, this chick, I have to meet her. So I went to her brewery with, what is he calling himself? Uncle Chuggles. We went to the brewery and met Gina and had some of her beers. And I was just like, hey, can I run a comedy show here? And I had no idea what I was doing. And you know what? New comics should not be running comedy shows, but sometimes things are just kismet and you have to run with it. So she believed in me for whatever reason, and we ran shows there, and it was so much fun. But like that show, it was great, but then everything just kind of changed. I started working with Castle Church. I swapped that venue for Castle Church, and then we also had Celery City and Abbey Bar in DeLand. Well, Celery City is in Sanford. All very, very wonderful, fine establishments. Good people doing great work. All of everything that they are in business for, they believe in. And if there's anyone to be supporting right now, it's those businesses. I know that Castle Church is doing antibody testing on site, so I think that's a big deal too. But I honestly, I love doing shows, and we did showcases and we did open mics, and we had really good support from all of the community, and we had all these new comics that would come out, and one thing I found about comedy school comics that I found really fascinating, you know what I'm talking about, the ones that don't really just go to the open mics, they pay money and they go to a class just to learn, and there's nothing I'm going to fault with that, because I think it's good in a lot of ways. Also, I think everyone should take an improv class at some point in their life. But these comedy school kids, I'm being, generalizing, they would come to my open mic, but they would be terrified of going out of their comfort zone. But then they'd get there and they'd realize they have a lot of fun. And watching comics get out of their comfort zone more and more and have fun, and watch them build relationships with people in the audience that really loved watching their growth, was one of the most fun things that I could ever ask for. I've always had a huge soft spot in my heart for open mics. And not only is that the first place I ever did comedy in front of people that I, was aware of, that's a culture that really, it's very deep. There's nothing else like the open mic scene.
Most definitely. That's what I love, living in the middle of all the major scenes, like Jacksonville, Orlando, and Daytona, and just bouncing around each of those scenes, and just man, it's a lot of fun, and growing your network and getting able to be hop on shows in that way. It's like you said, just building the network until you get so big that people love you, and it's from the comics to the audience. It's great.
But there's so many people that come to the shows that, even if they don't tell you that they're going to come, or they don't post that they've come out, whatever got them there, they generally enjoy themselves, and they leave feeling like, I'm glad I came here. And I miss that feeling more than anything.
Absolutely, indeed. And comedy just brings people together, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, in a very good way. Yeah, for sure. And I love it when
Absolutely.
people get offended. Like, that's the best.
Indeed. Yeah, I've seen some soft people out there, but man, uh, especially when you're bombing and it hurts you back, and it's like, oh. But
Oh, geez.
indeed,
Yeah, like I would always say like, okay, well, this is an open mic. It's a church. This is a baptismal. Don't fuck with it. And
uh,
and everybody was like, is this a church? You just said fuck with a baptismal. What the hell just happened? And like it just kind of set the tone for kind of how everybody was going to act throughout the night.
mm,
But like that doesn't happen in church.
most definitely, indeed.
It happens at comedy shows, though, for sure.
And for some, it feels like a church. Everyone's saying their sermons and stuff, and saying their prayers that they don't bomb.
Well, I mean, it's literally was a church. Like they have like services there twice. Like we had a comedy showcase. We would flip the room over after the Wednesday church service. We had like Rob Rowick was one of the ones that I had. Him and Sean Murphy just slayed that night. By the
Wow.
way, Sean Murphy is one of the funniest people that I've met in the last 12 months. But like they were at Castle Church, and like the people that are there for church, and like some of them would really enjoy it. They would stay for it on purpose. Like they weren't offended. They knew exactly what they were getting, and that very much gave me a sense of like humanity is okay.
Indeed. And I'm hoping to get Rob and then Sean like on different episodes on my Tuesday night show, because that's like reserved for the Daytona comics until I get everyone, and then I'll branch out to the other scenes for that.
Sure, yeah. No, I love that you have that separation, because that's a very unique area. Those
Absolutely,
comics.
they're fantastic folks in Daytona. And let's see here. You're a podcaster for Tidbits is your show with Etchy,
Yeah.
which reminds me of Uncle Chuckles tells Etchy to run in the comments section. But how did you link up with Tidbits and Etchy?
Well, so like, oh, I forgot to mention Ed. Ed and I were on State of the Beer Union. That was a podcast that I was on in my podcast history, and that's a show that I got on after I've met Gina. So Ed wanted me to meet Etchy. So Ed is the reason that I met Etchy, and then we started State of the Beer Union with Ed. And Ed is the one that kind of facilitated all of the shows that I'm on, because he introduced me to all of the wonderful bar owners that I work with. Ed is a gem of a human, and also if anybody knows Ed, he's been at pretty much all of the DeLand shows. Yeah, you know who Ed is if you've been to a DeLand show.
Yep, I think I picked up a sticker from him.
Yeah, State of the Beer Union sticker.
Yep,
Yeah.
indeed, most definitely.
Oh,
And
he plastered those all over the entire Eastern Seaboard.
that's marketing right there.
Shout out Enemy Inc. for making a sticker that would like withstand my cell phone for a year without like fading or anything. They make the best stickers.
Definitely shout out to those folks. Good stuff, most definitely. So what made you come up with his name, Drafts and Laughs comedy shows?
I like beer and laughing.
A combination.
And it sounds good together. Yeah.
Indeed, most definitely. And
Yeah,
so
but I hear like some other people took over the name, and I really don't care. But I'm trying to like make it more about like my own career at this point, like Drafts and Lives. If somebody else wants to take that name, I think it's kind of generic and bland. So if somebody else wants it, like, I don't know, I'm not giving up the domain.
Indeed, most definitely. So for this part of the show, I like to interview like the second half, which is like we interviewed. I interviewed you, I believe, at the Public House, I think it was, or somewhere near Orlando, the first time around. But for this one, I like to like go back.
We interviewed at the Public House the first time.
Oh yeah, Eric Filling's room. He's a fantastic
Eric Filling's
guy.
room. Yeah.
Indeed, I had him on a couple weeks ago or something like that, but his episode's fun. But so we'll go to that, and we'll see if any of your answers changed. So,
Oh, good
what
Lord.
inspired? Indeed, what inspired you to perform stand-up comedy?
I'm pretty sure my answer is the same. My friend inspired me, and then he died. This is the common theme in my life. But thankfully, my good friends are not dying off any like recently. But really, I've had time to think about this answer since then. Um, I have always been telling jokes in some way or another. I've been looking through old documents and making a collage of some memories that I've had that if you're going to keep it, you might as well do something with it. So I found a lot of old letters where friends of mine were in boot camp or at some kind of facility where I would send them jokes and I would try to make them laugh. And I have letters from them like saying how that much like that made their whole journey brighter, I guess. I don't know. They use their words, not mine. But like I've got these old memories and documentation and video of me just being like ridiculously like myself in that element. Uh, so the more I look at it, I just feel like my friend was kind of a caveat, like a way to get me to do it. And then I wouldn't have done it without his influence at that point in life. But I can't say what would have happened if I didn't. I don't know. But I feel like I've always had it in me, and I think a lot of people do as well. I think that's a thing that a lot of people are really funny.
Most definitely, I agree. Some of my pals pushed me to do stand-up, and without them, I wouldn't have went for it. So I'm glad I stuck around for like 7 years. It's been a fun ride.
You learn a lot.
Yeah, big time. How to read the room and which jokes work, and it's just like building a puzzle on stage. It's like, all right, this part doesn't work, and throw that piece out, and trim the fat and all that stuff. So
Oh, years.
most definitely. Let's see here. What was it feeling like when you first performed stand up?
Oh yeah, that was like that insane feeling of not being able to sleep for days or not being able to like get your head out of like the clouds. It was the most like ridiculous, like I don't know. I couldn't help it. But it that was an interesting time for me also. I feel like in a developmental stage that I was at, I was making poor choices for my future and my health. But it's easy when you get into that life. Like you get into comedy and you're like, fuck it. But I'm very glad to have balanced out since that feeling because it really can do a number on you if you can't grasp a hold of it. Like that's what happened.
Most definitely. Like in the beginning, I was going way too hard, and I'm just gonna just chill. Like I did all the stages that I wanted to do, and I'm just gonna just do once a month, and I'll be happy. Cause
What's your favorite stage in Orlando?
favorite stage in Orlando. I'd have to say, um, uh, the Bull and Bush is like has a special place in my heart with Sandwich.
Oh yeah,
I
no,
don't
for sure.
Indeed, and like Ross, and Doug is like, they book me, and then and when I vouch for someone, I rarely vouch for someone, and then when I do, it's like, man, this is, they put them on, and I couldn't have asked for more from those guys. So good
Yeah,
folks.
yeah. Like
Yep.
that's the Mattgersting Stage. The question that we that stage, the person that I was you know pushed that gave me the impetus to do it. Like that stage is dedicated to him. So I love that is his stage.
Indeed, I wish would have met him, and he seems like an awesome guy. Like everyone in this whole scene thinks the world of him, and he's walking
Yeah.
down on the stage, and I'm sure he's at every comedy show there. So
For like somebody that also produces festivals, like you and him would have probably had a lot of common ground. Like you probably would have really enjoyed talking to each other.
indeed, I love like festival directors, like and picking their brain because it helps make my festival better. And like, what can I learn from them?
Yeah, it's a huge job.
Indeed, most definitely. Yeah, which reminds me of Sareth Fest is happening in 2 weeks. So if you're in Colorado, or live stream it on this one, it's gonna be on this channel all 3 days. So it's gonna be awesome.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and then let's see here. What are your favorite comedy specials and comedy record albums?
Oh, this has totally changed. So I, again, like the older you get, the more you get into like whatever. But like Joan Rivers, her books, I ended up finding some of her books at one of those, those Logan's book things where you take one, leave one in the neighborhood, where it's just like a book thing. Those are awesome. So if you ever see one of those little bookcases in the neighborhood, just see what's in there. Like something might be calling out to you. I ended up finding 2 Joan Rivers books in there, albeit they're not comedy albums. They have been very important to me in like just one of them is really about her struggle and bouncing back. That's the name of the book. Is it book qualify for album? Like, is this an okay answer?
I'll accept it. As long
Okay.
as you learn from that book from a comedian such as Joan Rivers, she's legendary. I'll accept it.
She tells you how to write jokes about your personal trauma and tragedy. She gives you a fucking bullet point list of how to do it basically in this book. And like, if Joan Rivers is going to teach me how to write, like that is a blessing. And yes, yes, yes. Also, thank you, Gina, for texting me about my hair.
Indeed, I'll definitely have to look up those books because I love reading about comedy and all that stuff.
Hang on, I have them here. It's like, I hate everyone starting with me. That one is really good for like reminding yourself that it's okay to hate, which I find personally important. And the other one is Bouncing Back, which I think you can get on Amazon for like $5. If you're like a person that has gone through anything and you want to write about it, I would totally read that, but it's kind of hard.
Indeed. Thank you for the recommendations. I'll definitely check out those books on Amazon for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Indeed. And let's see here. Joan Rivers has been on TV, and I want to know what your favorite sitcom, sketch shows, and comedy films are.
Um, I have watched so much in the last little bit. My favorites have really, I've gone back to watch them. I've always been a huge Will Ferrell fan. Okay. And anybody that might have seen my other interview with you, I listed off how I liked Roseanne. I listed off how I liked Louis C.K. I listed off how I wanted to go on tour with Adam Murray. Like, come on. Like I love Adam Murray. That's not what I'm talking about. But like, so much has changed. But I go back and I watch these DVDs of Will Ferrell, like the best of Will Ferrell 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are so different. Will Ferrell talks about some stuff that like socially and culturally is not okay now. And when you think about what your favorites are, it's hard to get not jaded from like, oh, but I also don't see him doing jokes in that style anymore. But I love comedy that makes me laugh, and I'm not trying to just like idolize comedians anymore. I don't know what programmed me to idolize male comedians. I really like the thing of Will Ferrell's bits that get in my head that I laugh about all the time are the little tags to really horrible, socially awful jokes that he's made. And it's the tags that I always think of. And that is like a joke writing level that is, it bothers me. But I mean, it still makes me think of that joke all the time. But then the subject material always gets glazed over.
Indeed. So
Does that
that's
make sense?
yep. SNL and like all those shows from the '90s, even to Chappelle's show, like early 2000s, they really pushed the envelope, and there's a lot of things that you just can't get away with nowadays. And man, I loved how edgy they were back then, but man, they definitely now that they put it on syndication, they have to cut some of that stuff out. So it's just like I miss the rawness of it all, but it's just I know what
Yeah.
you mean for sure.
But I do love like of SNL cast, like the women are I just the RBG skits, like, and the cat, I don't even know. Like, that is the funniest thing to me. Um, Lately, I've been watching YouTube videos of how to for DIY stuff, and some of those YouTubers are funnier than they realize they are. So, like, I just kind of want to make people like start doing jokes in weird ways. Um, I don't know. The things that I think are funny are the people that are like really really funny with no audience and they don't realize how fun they are. That is my actual favorite like thing right now. I'll say to Etchy, who's my boyfriend, who, like, I don't know, I'm sorry I didn't mention him by now, but like I'll just say to him, like, the funniest thing I saw was this stupid thing on YouTube, and like, for real, I don't know, like, that's what really gets me, is just these people that are honestly in their moment trying to do something, and they say something that they have no idea is funny.
Most definitely. And sitcoms?
Ooh, right now there's this thing called Ted Lasso on Apple Plus, and that one's really fun. Um, I have watched so many things. Kelly Clarkson show, like, she's got my vote. If she does something horrible between this interview and that and the next one, I'm gonna be Kelly Clarkson. Don't fuck this up, like. I'm relying on you not to fuck this up. But her talk show has provided so much like joy in my early mornings. So if I can watch Kelly Clarkson show, I'm going to get a lot done in that day. And she just, like, I don't know, she makes me cry in a good way before the rest of everything makes me cry in a bad way.
Indeed. And comedy films?
Comedy films. I watched Funny People again the other day. I'll always love that one. Um, they're always freaking men. That's annoying. Oh shit. So Joan Rivers. This is available on Amazon Prime. Um, Joan Rivers has a bunch of her old Joan shows, like from the '60s, available. That's it. 100%. Totally, like, yeah.
Indeed. I don't have any of those things, those streaming services, because I'm pretty tight on cash. But when I do, I'll probably hop into those things and
Well, I
totally.
think that Metro PCS offers Amazon Prime with their high end, like, I think $60 is their most you'll pay plan. I think that one includes 100 gigs of Google and also Amazon Prime, but they're not a sponsor.
Oh goodness, most definitely. Good call. Indeed. So
But
if
free
you
products, if you can get free products with your stuff you already have to have, by all means, you know.
go for it, most definitely. If you can go on tour with any comedian locally and internationally known, which comedians would you like to go on tour with?
I would like to go on tour with Amy Sedaris, I think. Like, I would really enjoy that. Maybe Whoopi Goldberg.
And on a local level,
Oh, Ross Paget, for sure.
man, he's a great comic. I enjoyed performing with him at the Improv when I got to produce that show, and he's a good fella.
Vince
Most
Taylor. I would totally go on tour with Vince Taylor. Also, I miss doing comedy with Veronica Kramer. She was really funny too. Like, I hope that she sticks with it.
indeed. I love Vince. I've never met Veronica, but Vince is a cool cat too. I definitely dig him.
I miss hanging out with Vince. I know that he's been working hard, doing a lot of important work, but I just miss seeing everybody that I used to see all the time.
Same here. Same here. And if you can get roasted by five comedians, top five, past and present, which ones would you like to get roasted by?
I didn't even realize that was a question. Past and present, so like they could be dead.
Yep.
Okay. Robin Williams, I'd probably cry. Um, Shoot. John Goodman, I would like him to roast me. Is he a comedian? I don't know.
He's a comedic actor. I'll count that.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, Joy Behar, I would like for her to roast me. I'd like to really hear what she had to say. Locally, I don't even know. Marcus Crespo and Isaac. I want Isaac to roast me.
Indeed.
Did that answer? Did I do it right?
I think so. I think that's 5. If not,
Okay.
we'll throw in another wild card and
I'm
he
from
would.
Titusville. I don't know how to count.
And same here. I'm from Colorado. Public school systems.
Yes.
Indeed. And where do you see your comedy career in the next 5 years?
I really like my whole like trajectory was running shows and basically just understanding comedy at the levels that I was at before. I really don't know if I want to keep running shows at the level that I was running them before. I really we did a bus tour in Daytona and DeLand. It was in November. That was one of the most fun things I've ever done. And I would love to do like boutique events that are, not wide scale, but like really fun for the people that are involved. So like I really like to produce some shows like that, but also really work our podcast into different ways. Like I'm creating my own separate show, which is kind of like a beer comedy, like beer school kind of thing. So I'm very excited about that, but it's going to be more about like learning what you like about beer, because people can't really go to the brewery and have the conversations that they would have with somebody at the bar. And also we have so many brewery friends that need the business, but like, everybody's bored of Zoom calls. So it's kind of a conundrum to figure out. But, I hope that we're able to get back to a point where we can feel safe inviting our friends and family out to places where we can make them laugh. I can't in good conscience ask people to come out to a place where it's going to get them sick, or somebody's grandkid got somebody else sick. I can't even, like, everybody is a good person, but I can't have them. I don't know. I don't know what the next 5 years looks like, but I sure hope that it involves like some sort of in-person aspect to shows that's not with people in cars, because I really don't like telling jokes to people in cars.
Same here. I need that eye contact. I need,
Yeah.
that laughter,
Like it's hard to watch these monologues when they don't have any audience to give them any kind of feedback. We really had it good when we had it good.
Most definitely. I can't agree more. Like, Florida is like the best comedy like state, I think, like hands down, like from all
Yeah.
my adventures, I gotta say.
Really? So
Yep.
you've been to like all states, right?
Almost all states. I'm trying to go all states, but like I hit most of the major cities and the major markets, so I'll
Yeah.
try to head up all the other small towns. Like Chicago was fun, LA was fun. I haven't done in New York, so I got to try New York. So we'll see
Yeah,
how.
you should do New York. Yeah, I'm very concerned about the New York scene. And I mean, it was already hard to survive here on a comics pay to begin with before this. So I don't know who's able to stay in New York. I know that like housing wise, uh, can you get up at an open mic now? Like, do they even have? I don't know. I used to be a part of all these New York groups because I had goals and dreams of going up there. This year was developmentally supposed to get me into different states. Like, we went to Asheville last November. I'm like, the whole goal is to keep traveling, but
Indeed. And like a lot of people that I tell people where I live, they're like, "Are you serious? You drove an hour and a half to get here," or and stuff like that. It's like if you're gonna be a comic, you got to drive more than an hour and a half to get to the next venue. Like you just can't stay in your little fishbowl. It's not gonna work. And I see all my friends that live in like big cities, and I'm like, I wish you hit up all the little small towns in between because that's just it's much cooler that way. And like Denver and Atlanta, they were both awesome too. But like all the little small towns like Savannah and Pueblo and all those places, they're awesome as well. You gotta love all those little small towns. And
yeah, for sure.
Umatilla is fun too. I sold all my records out there, so they're great folks. And you do podcasting and what other forms of comedy would you like to venture off into, like improv, sketch, and comedy writing, directing, etc.
Rap.
Good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I've been trying to like watch YouTube videos, learning. I've actually gotten pretty like decent at rapping Eminem's like only one line from that, but I'm getting better at it. I don't want to do it right now, but you've seen it on my wall on Facebook. But I really love rap, and I love comedy and rap, and that seems like something I really like a lot.
Man, definitely hit up Isaac and Free Daps. They might teach you some cool raps.
Dude,
Isaac Knox, big shout out to you, buddy.
Dude, if you watch any of their free apps videos, they have these rap battles, and you're energized as a human after watching them. I highly recommend watching Free Apps or any of those kind of videos where they're just rap battles, because it's that's another level. Like being able to think on your feet on that level is tremendous.
Absolutely. Like my favorite Isaac Knox one was like when he was battling like that third round was where they were going back and forth and it was like improvised and it was just like, man, he just took the words out of that dude's mouth and then back and forth and then they just battled and it was like, man, this is so cool. Like I share that with all my buddies. Like this is battle rap. This is legendary. You know.
It's like art in word form right in front of you. Like just keep up. Like so hopefully nobody's been heckling me. Either you've been like, I don't think anybody's been heckling me, have they?
Nope.
Cool.
I turn off Facebook just for like all these, so that way I don't deal with those folks. I'm like, in time I'll interview them, so they just have to be patient. And I'm still trying to put money in your pockets and with these interviews and get followers for you all, and so hopefully they'll be patient when they. Which reminds me, all of Lesley Jo's information's like tidbits and all that stuff. Social media is on the bottom of the screen. So definitely on YouTube. So definitely follow all her stuff and visit her website and all that good stuff. Let's see here. What experience or what is your favorite Joker comic has ever written?
Oh boy. Oh boy. I don't know what I said before on this one. I have no idea. I have no idea, Sareth. That's a hard question.
Indeed. There's so many out there for sure.
I have no idea.
Tough
There's
one.
So many. Oh my god. I mean, I could probably just like open up a book and pull one out. Anything Joan Rivers ever said was hilarious.
I agree. She's pretty on point with a lot of her
Oh,
comedy.
the egg joke that I co-wrote that never got any fucking credit for.
Oh.
The egg joke. Remember that egg joke when you fucking eggs? That Rutherford, that's my dog's middle name.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. We talked. That egg joke was actually in reference. I'm just getting 17 messages saying egg. I'm kidding. So like the egg was in reference to those sex toy eggs that you can like fuck, and it's not a real egg. It's just the thing that has the lube inside. That was the whole like that's what I had a question about, and then the egg joke got wrote.
Wow, good stuff. I've heard about the egg. I've known people that have used the egg. So
well, the egg joke, you know what I'm talking about? The Billy Myers egg joke.
oh, from I've seen him perform it at the open mics in Melbourne when they were called open mics, but now they're called Apocalypse Coffee or something like that.
I was he was giving me a ride to my showcase in DeLand, and that was birthed out of a question that I had about sexual eggs. I feel like I can ask a question, you know?
Indeed, most definitely. And what experience would you like your guys to take with them after a set is over?
Oh, that like we did this for them and they should tip us, but also maybe buy us a beer and then come back and love us always, because if we made you laugh, we'll always make you laugh.
Most definitely. And it's
an
job.
Investment. Yeah. Like it would be an investment in their future if they would like, yeah. Indeed. I don't know. I really love it when people go to my shows and then they tell me that they got something out of it that they needed because they've had a really bad day or like they have a huge decision on their mind. Like I've met people that I never would have had the opportunity to meet outside of running shows that have felt comfortable to message me and just be like, I've had several that are like, hey, I'm not trying to like be in your inbox being a creep, but I have gone to several of your shows and I really liked, I get a lot of likes for Ben Brainerd. Everybody loves Ben Brainerd. Everybody loves Jeff Jones. Like I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad, but like those, like there were some that I just never got. I always heard good positive things from, but they felt like their life had been impacted in a way that they would not stop doing this. They'll always go to that show if they know it's there, and they always do. And that's something that I could never ask for, like know how to ask for and get it.
Most def, indeed. And those guys are Ben and Jeff are like some of my favorite comics, and so Jeff for putting me on his show and all that good stuff. And Uncle Chuckle says Wu-Tang is for the children, and I couldn't agree more. So good stuff. Indeed. Any final words you'd like to give to the audience out there that's watching?
Well, thank you for hanging out and supporting. This has been hard to figure out what's next. So this is my first real like attempt back at being social since this. So thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. If you're interested in what I'm doing, I do have my website, which is ljcomedy.com. And there's website links to my podcast that I do. I have some videos. Are you going to post that video of that 5 I sent you, or should I post that on my, like, I'm going to post it on my website, but like, what do you want me to do about that?
I would recommend putting it on your YouTube channel, because then and all the good stuff, and so people can check it out. And then shoot me the YouTube link, and I'll add it to the description box below. So
Okay.
that way they'll know what we're talking about when it comes to those jokes.
Okay. Yeah. I'll do that, and and I'll put this whole thing on my website too. But yeah, no, thank you for everything, and I appreciate the re-interview. I feel like I don't even know how long ago that was, like 3 years. I don't even know.
Had to be, yeah.
But that feels like a lifetime ago.
I agree. I tell everyone that too. They're like, I can't. This is like the only video. This is like one of like the only videos that show up whenever my parents Google search me, and they thank me for that. I'm like, hey, it was a fun time, and it made me grow my network, and and definitely I have like social, like I'm bad at socializing, and that was like my way of breaking the ice with everyone. And I got a journalism degree. I might as well make the best use out of it while I do shows. So
do it. And Sareth was on episode 26 of Tidbits as well. So if anybody wants to listen to Sareth on Tidbits, that was before I was on the show.
Sweet. It's a fun episode, so definitely listen to it. Like, there's all kinds of cool stuff you'll hear from that show. And Steve, or Etchy, is like one heck of an interviewer, and I can't wait to have him on my show after in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so after I get back from Colorado. All that good stuff. So thank you so much, Lesley Jo, and thank you so much for everyone for tuning in tonight and interacting in the chat box. And until next week, I'll have a brand new guest on Type 51 Mike, and subscribe and all that good stuff. Give it a like, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Awesome. Good night.